And I sort of focus these days now more on helping people become ageless in mind and body.
Great, thanks, Mike.
I'm a life coach, helping people to create a life of their design.
Okay, great. Alicia, do you want to go and say what you do?
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay.
In terms of the business, do you mean?
Yeah. What industry?
So, well, I've got two businesses. I'll focus on Black to My Roots. So I basically run an online black department store that sells clothing, homewares, accessories, and gifts that reflect people that look like us and promote positive self-identity for the black community.
Brilliant. While you're here, you might as well share the other one, the Raw Drip one.
Okay, so Raw Drip is my daughter's business, and it's premium personalized clothing, accessories, and gifts, and she's moving towards a sustainable product range. So she's going sort of down the eco route.
Brilliant. And Chloe.
Hello, I'm the founder of Odyssey Box UK, which is your friendly online hair shop and destination for plant-powered and black-owned hair care.
Brilliant. Cool. And Mike? Mike with the delay?
Oh, me. I'm Mike. I've got a business support group agency, and also graphic design, content creator, and digital marketing.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so where I remember, I will try and give examples that you can use. But if you have any queries or questions, there'll be points where you can ask or just put them in the chat. And when I break off at the end of each section, I'll go through them with you. So I'll start the presentation now and share my screen with you. So let's begin. I'm going to skip through the first part because you have already heard me mention that I'm a product-based business expert. So I've worked for department stores, Debenhams, House of Fraser and Selfridges, and I've also in their buying offices, and I've also worked for skincare brands Bliss, Zellens and Sarah Chapman, which you may or may not have heard of. Some of them are extremely premium and high price points, so don't be surprised if you haven't. But while I worked for those three brands, I also worked and dealt with different buying offices, so retail stores, so Harrods, Brown Thomas, which is a department store in Ireland, Net-a-Porter, VIP is the third largest online retail store in the world, Space NK is a beauty store that is has physical stores and online presence, Harvey Nichols, Feel Unique, Look Fantastic and Cult Beauty are online, Fabled is a concept store owned by Marie Claire, Fenwick, John Lewis, and lots of small independent retailers as well. So I have a wealth of knowledge of what it's like on how to get stocked in retail stores, as well as online stores as well. So grab a pen and paper. Like I said, if you've got any questions, just write them in the chat or ask when we come to the sections. So today I'm going to share with you areas that you can identify in your business that need improvement, ways to beat your customer expectations, and how to create a seamless customer journey that will end in a sale in 6 simple ways. And at the end, there's a free bonus, which I haven't told anyone about, which I'll give to the team so they can send it out to you guys so you can have it as well. So the 6 ways are analysis, audit, under promise and over delivery, communication, product launches, and increasing distribution. So I'll crack straight on with analysis. So you should always analyze your business and learn from the data that you find. And I'm sure all of you have heard of and should have a Google Analytics account for your website if you have a website. Now, even if it's a one-page tool, you should still have it so you can see where people click through and link through or go to purchase. So make sure you've got a Google Analytics account, but don't just look at how long people are on your website for and how many people visit your site and what countries they visit your site from, because that's not going to help you in the big scheme of things. It's useful to know, and you want to see that time on site is increasing, but what's really important is finding out where people are leaving your website. So are they leaving where you expect them to leave? We don't want people to leave on the first page that they go onto, otherwise your bounce rate could be high. What you want to do is try and get a really low bounce rate, and you want people to navigate through your website because it's interesting for them and it's exactly what they were looking for, and that's why they spend more time on your website. But the reality is most of us, when we're going online, whether it's to book music lessons or performances, or if it's to buy clothing or hair care or whatever it may be, most times we go and look at a website and then we leave. And this is natural for us to do so. But what we want to do is make sure that when they're searching in Google for the thing that they want, and we come up in the search engine, that they are actually finding what they want. And when they go to our website, they're going to look through it, and they may come back later and purchase, but it sometimes takes that building of know, like, and trust. And if your website looks unprofessional, they're just going to literally go in and bounce back out. So this is a copy of my business. So I said to you guys at the beginning that I have my own online business called Pink Ribbon Lingerie. And Pink Ribbon Lingerie is a niche online store that sells swimwear, lingerie and sleepwear and sportswear for women who've had breast cancer surgery. And so this is a screenshot of my business from 2017. And so here you can see, if you look, the first column is the different title pages. It has the page views, it has unique page views, and the time on the page, on these pages on average. And this is what most people look at. But what we really need to be looking at is the next 3 columns, and especially this column, the bounce rate. So average bounce rate meant that 34% of people that came to my website, as soon as they hit the website page, they left. And so what you want to do is look at the pages that are higher than this average and see what is wrong with them. So if you look at, these are the top 10 pages that people go onto my website on, and you can see the most popular one is swimwear, and 7.9% leave, because that's not many, you know, most of them go on there and think, yes, I want swimwear, so let me keep looking through the website. But if you look on the other pages, this 49% is higher than the average. 63% is higher than the average. 51% is higher than the average. So what I had to do is go through each of those pages and think, is there enough information? Am I telling the person that's landing on those pages what they want to see, and show them the next path and navigation and where to go to next, so that I can go in and improve the bounce rate and bring it lower, which means people are spending more time on my website. So I encourage you, after today's session, I want you to book an hour in your diary, and I'm going to, you know, really hold yourself to that, to actually go on Google Analytics and actually have a look at the data that you see, and then act upon the areas that have really high bounce rates, higher than your average, and really look at those specific pages and see what is wrong with them. Because if they're your, you know, start at the most popular pages first, because those are the ones that everybody's clicking through and linking through from, and make sure that you've improved and tweak and improve your website as much as possible. So, as I mentioned, is there anything you can improve on? Is it obvious for where the visitor should go to next? And what is the journey that your visitors are taking on your website? You can see through Google Analytics the flow that customers take and the journey. And you need to think about, is it what you expected? Because sometimes it's not. And that may be because the navigation on your website isn't clear. So have a look at that as well. If you don't really know much about Google Analytics, I would suggest going onto YouTube, going to Google, and they have their own school where they can show you how to use the data and use it properly. And they have little bite-sized videos that you can watch, and it's really easy. So if you see something on your website that's not expected, change it, improve it, and tweak on it. So that's basically the first section. Now, I want to just ask you guys if you have any questions about Google Analytics, if you've used it before, or if you've used it but not in the way that I've suggested.
Yeah, I've used it, but more like the person who created my website, he showed me it more, but I haven't like dealt into all the nitty gritty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I think most of us only just are shown like top line, and we're not really, you know, we don't delve deeper into it, and we always look at the good stuff. And really what we should be doing is looking at the bad stuff, because the things that are going wrong in your website is what you need to fix, and that will have the biggest impact for you, and to like tweak and change. Now, I don't expect you to know all the answers today. That's why I want you to pencil some time in your diary to go through and look through it. Does anybody else want to ask any questions?
Yeah, is it free?
Yes, Google Analytics is one of those tools that Google has that's free. So you've got Google Analytics, Google AdWords, Google Calendar, all of those Google packages are all free. So yeah, it's totally free to use.
Okay.
Can you
thanks.
access this stuff straight from Google Analytics, or do you need to go back end in your website?
So different websites will have different pieces of information. So if I look at the back end of my website, it will tell me how many people are on the site, how many people are repeat customers. It gives me limited data, but that's just my site platform. Each platform will have their own dashboards that are quite simplistic. Some give you much more detail. It really depends who your platform is. But Google Analytics is really good in the fact that it will show you, it can show you kind of real time. You can look back at 30 days, you can look at back 180 days. You can compare it to the previous year or the previous month. So it's really good to see if you're tracking and you're improving and growing what you're doing, whether you're looking 1 week compared to another week or 1 month compared to another month. It can give you a lot more data if you know how to use it.
I'm referring to the access though. To access it, do I just put my website in Google Analytics, or do I need
So
to
you just
go back end?
So you literally just go to Google. I'll show you guys. It's real simple. And if you haven't got an account, you might need to set one up, but I think it's pretty standard. So you go to Google and you press the 3 buttons here. And well, no, you don't press the 3 buttons. That's what you used to do. You literally just type in Google Analytics, and then it will come up here, and then it will say which account. I've got more than one website, so it'll ask me what more than one Google account. So it might ask me to share the details from different businesses that I've got, and so that's all you do. And then you can start going down here and looking at demographics, looking at audiences, looking at loads of different areas of your business, depending on what business it is. So it's really easy. And if you haven't got an account, then just set one up. But like I'll just see if I can go onto YouTube and then go to Google. So if you literally go to the Google account on YouTube, you go to Google. I think they even have their own analytic. Here we go, Google Analytics tutorials for beginners. And then if you go to these ones, but make sure you find the one that Google has, because there is one for Google here. And then to their own Google Analytics, and then literally they have a series of 4 2-minute, 3-minute videos that you can watch that will help you like get through the bits that you need to find. It's really simple. So just literally find Google Analytics on YouTube and it will walk you through everything that you need. Okay.
You talked about Google setting up a Google account. So is that just an ordinary Google account, or do you need to set up an account for your website?
So you can set your email address up. So it doesn't have to be a Gmail email address, but you can set your account up so that it's a Google email. So like my website email address is linked to Google. And so then I can then link that up to my Google Calendar, which I can set my Calendly to, or my Zoom calls, or all the different things, and link it up with that. And then that means you then link it to your website as well. So if literally watch the videos, it will show you how to set it all up. But it's quite straightforward, but it allows you, once it's set up, to get that data going forwards. But yeah, okay.
Also, a piece of advice for Google: when you do set it up, copy your data so that you've got your master data that isn't changed, because you're going to manipulate it and add certain goals and stuff. But if you make sure you've got your raw data that you don't change, and then just copy that, and then that's the set of data that you play about with.
Yeah. Like for me, I've always tried to compare on like past years or previous months. This year is quite an anomaly of a year, so I try and look at kind of like the last few months instead of comparing to last year, because it's not like for like with what's happening in the world. But it's just, even when you're comparing to see how well you're doing and time on site, the most relevant thing really is what's happening at the moment. And if that's worse than last year, there's something wrong. And if it's better than last year, that's good. But even when you look at that, that could be because you've got a bigger following, a bigger mailing list, a bigger audience, more articles that click through to your website. All of these factors can help, but you could still be making massive mistakes in your business. And that's why you really need to look at the analytics and see what's going wrong in your business as well. All right, cool. Okay, I'm going to crack on with the next section, which is auditing. So auditing is similar to analytics, but most people haven't audited their website. So auditing your website is when you go through and check, are all of your links working? Are they up to date? You know, have you got, if you sell products, are your size guides correct? Are products linked to the relevant size guides in your descriptions? Are you making it really easy for your customer to complete a purchase so they're not wondering what's meant to happen? Are your terms and conditions up to date? So for example, as we're going into Christmas and we're on lockdown, and although we're coming back out of lockdown, we might go back into lockdown, you want to make sure your terms and conditions are up to date. So for example, if Daniel's going to book a client, he should have in his terms and conditions, what happens if we go into lockdown? Do people get a refund? Can they rearrange their booking with you? All the different things, and they need to be kept up to date. So it's basically making sure everything in your website is easy to understand, easy to follow, and it's easy to help people know where they stand so that that can convert into making a purchase. Are your delivery times and pricings easy to find? The worst thing is someone can go through your website and then there's this added price that they didn't know about when they go to the checkout. Make sure everything is really easy and simple to help people make that buying decision. And ask for feedback on your website. So we look at our website, we are the people that normally do it, or someone else has done it, and we think everything's fine, but we're not necessarily the end user. So you want to get some people that you trust to give you honest feedback. Now, if I ask some of my friends, they'll just say, oh yeah, it's really good. But if there's certain friends I know who will give me the honest truth, and those are the people that you need to ask. You know, is it easy to navigate? What are the things I can improve on? What do you like about my website? What don't you like about my website? You could actually even ask your customers what to do as well. So again, another tip, again, the same tip, book time in your diary to do an audit on your website. So I try to do an audit once every 2 or 3 months because it's not something that it should change that often. But what I try and do is get feedback from customers and from friends when I make tweaks and changes and ask them their opinions. Sometimes I might even show friends, what do you prefer, this one or the other version, before I make something live. And it's just making sure those links are still working, because sometimes we turn off links or we move information where they're linked to. So we want to make sure that they're always working and, you know, not kind of getting people to a 404 page. Have any of you ever done audits on your websites?
Yeah, probably not that intensive, but I made sure that when Kelechi made my site, that he showed me how to do most things, and the really technical stuff I leave it to him.
Yeah. Okay. So what you should do is, instead of maybe get somebody to say, I don't know, someone in this group, in the tribe, and say, could you spend 10 minutes going to my website and see what it would be like to make a booking, and get them to give you feedback? Was it easy? Was there information that they couldn't find easily or that was missing that you should add? And just get that feedback from them. And maybe it's something in the group that, if for those that you are part of the in tribe that want to maybe do that for each other. Some of the people here are people that I know have come from me. So you guys ask your friends or each other, yeah, and get some feedback on that. Hi, Sabrina. I know you've joined late. You haven't missed very much. We've gone through so far talking about auditing your website, which you might have caught the end of, and also analyzing your website using Google Analytics. And my suggestion was, if you're not sure about Google Analytics, is to go to YouTube and go to the Google Analytics page, where they have lots of different tutorials that you can watch and learn how to do it. So if you've got any questions about that, you can ask me at the end. No problem. All right. Chloe doesn't know where to start with auditing. Okay, start with the home page. Literally go through the first page and check. If there's buttons, do those buttons work? You click, does it go to where it's meant to go to? And that's all, literally, that's what you do. Then you go to the next page. Okay, once you've clicked all those buttons on the home page and they work, great. Then go to the next page in your website. If you have another page, do all of those buttons work? Great. And then once you think everything's working, then get somebody to tell you what it's like to sign up for a subscription box service or to buy some products. And that's basically all that you're doing. You're just making sure that everything's working and it's really easy to use for the user and the user experience. Because we're in our little silos and we often, will make mistakes or leave or have errors, and we don't notice them because we're like too involved within the business. So it's helpful when you can ask somebody that's not seeing your business day to day to check it out and see what they think. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next section. Okay, so under promise and over deliver. For those of you that know me already, this is something I talk about a lot. So this can be as simple as writing a thank you card with your orders or a thank you email to your customers for their business. So for those of you that are service-based businesses, when you talk to people, you know, at the end of your calls, you can say, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to book another product or session, please do. Or you can follow up with an email and like a week or a few days later, letting them know what other services you have, because that may be of interest, or if they know anybody that would be interested. If you don't ask for the sale's not going to happen. So sometimes a thank you is that reminder subconsciously that, you know, you are there and that you have a service to provide. So thank yous go a long way, and if you can make them personal and unique to people, that's even better. So whether it's just a template that you have, then that's not a problem. But you know, making sure that you use their first name, and if there's anything that you had in your call, or if it's a customer that you've had a phone call with, that you can maybe say, great talking with you, or meeting with you last week. Those little things really make a difference. Sampling. So for product-based businesses, I love sampling. It makes a real difference to your potential sales, where customers can try something before they buy it. If you don't have a product that you can sample, then having something that you can maybe do a lookbook and show people new products that are about to come out is another great way of sampling. And even talking about a product that's up and coming, that's coming out soon, is like a sample. It's kind of like a sneak peek that people aren't expecting, they don't know about, but you're kind of giving them some inside knowledge. And that can be really, really valuable, because it makes people have that FOMO effect and that fear of missing out. If you can offer a free gift, with Black Friday coming up this week, having a free gift is great. And maybe instead of discounting, you might want to add something over and above occasionally. So it may be, you know, something that's unexpected that you pop into the order, or it might be when a customer spends a certain amount, you might also give them something. So for example, I don't know, I keep going to Daniel because it's the one I can remember, but you know, when you do your shows, does somebody record it? If so, is there a recording that they could have? Or do you have a pre-recorded version that you can leave with them afterwards as a memory, especially if you're doing shows that are like of real importance, like weddings or birthdays or stuff like that. That is something over and above that's unexpected that you don't tell people about. When we stop, I'm going to get the others to remind me what their businesses were, or could you actually put them in the chat while I'm talking, and then when I go back, I'll remember, so I can give you guys examples that will help. And then if you have special offers or bundles, you should share these with your mailing list first. Your mailing list should be your VIPs. You should treat them special because they are more likely to spend money with you. Customers on your mailing list are likely to spend 138% more with you than those who are not on your mailing list. So it's really important that you do treat them well, and you tell them about offers and discounts and deals before anybody else. And then maybe a few days later, you can, you know, tell everybody else publicly about your offers. But this is a really good way of kind of under promising and over delivering, because you haven't promised anything to them, but you're giving them that great value. And then gifting. Is your product that you provide, the service that you do, an ideal gift for people? If it is, remind people that actually, hi guys, you know, you bought something from me, or you bought my service last year. Would you be interested in gifting this to somebody else this year? Because that's another way of increasing sales and also showing that you offer a different type of service. Okay. So the action for this section is spend 20 minutes on ways that you can do a little bit further in customer service. You know, what can you do in your business that you can, you know, under promise and over deliver on? And that's basically doing something extra without telling people that you're doing it. So when they receive this extra thing, they're pleasantly surprised, because customers who really like your business and like your brand are going to talk about it with others. in the same way that they talk about your brand if something's gone wrong or a terrible mistake. So you want them to talk about it for the right reasons. So I want you to spend 20 minutes, put some time, like I said, that hour in your diary, and just be like, okay, what could I do? What would make something even better if I did this? It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but can really have an impact. And you can change what that is throughout the year. It doesn't have to be the same offer or the same little gift or the same bonus or the same, handwritten note or something. You can switch it up. It doesn't have to feel stale, but think about the things that you could do in your business. Before we go into communication. So, okay, health and well-being. Sabrina, vegan, organic and vegan skincare, and SEMrush, useful tool to audit your website. Okay, cool.
Have you heard of that one, Camille?
No, I haven't. I will have a look at them though.
Yeah, it's good.
What is, when you say health and well-being, Mike, what do you mean? Because that's quite a large remit.
Okay, so I help people either to eat healthily, nutrition-wise, exercise, fitness, Pilates, and also we use some psychological tools as well to help people to achieve their healthy lifestyle goals.
Okay.
So using exercise, nutrition, and psychology to help people live a healthy lifestyle.
And so do they work with you like for a period of time, like on a kind of retainer process or like a...
So on the fitness side, yes, I have people who've been with me for some time.
Okay, so sometimes when I have retainer clients, I book people on a minimum of 3 months retainer. But if someone says, no, I want to book 6 months for you, for those people, I'll do something over and above that they weren't expecting. So there might be something like, can I give them a free, I don't know, a mini meal plan or a cheat sheet or something like that that can have that added value that they weren't expecting. So yeah, just think like, what could I like with what you're doing, because you offer a lot of different services. Is there something that you can integrate them into a different service that you're kind of like, here's a little sneak peek into something else that I do. I'm going to give you this for free. And if they like it, they might ask more about that and then become a customer that spends more with you because they're going to use a number of different services.
Right. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so communication. So as I mentioned before, communication or emails is like the biggest and one of the most important things in your business. So you've probably heard the term, you need to grow your email list. You need to build your email list. So when was the last time you emailed your mailing list? If you could put in the chat, there's no shame here. It could be last year, it could be once a week, it could be once a month, it could be never, it could be I don't have a mailing list. But I all want you to put in if you don't have a mailing list, just say you don't have one. And if you do have one, just put in the chat, each of you, when was the last time you sent an email? And then I'm going to share with you why you should be sending emails once a week at least. And at the moment, you can send them in Q4 more than once a week. This year is like no other time before, having a captive audience at home. Most people prior to this would be on their phone on the way to work, scrolling through, looking with their head down on the tube or the train or the bus, and then on the way back from work, and then maybe at the weekends. But now we are at home, we have more time on our hands, even though it probably doesn't feel like it. So we've got more of a captive audience. So sending emails, they're more likely to be received. So what you want to do is you want to send an email once a week. And an email once a week is not too much. And sometimes it can feel too much. But if you imagine an average open rate is about 20%, depending on your area or your niche, it can be more, it can be less. So for example, retail is only about 13.3. If you personalize emails, you can increase your open rates by 5.7% on average. So just by mentioning their first name in an email or in between the email and personalizing stuff in that email based on what they may have purchased from you can really increase your open rate, because it's going to be, your emails are going to be niched down to that specific area. But if you imagine as a hypothetical, only 20% open your emails. So if you send an email once a month, every 5 months, a customer will receive your email. That's not good enough. Whereas if you send an email once a week, roughly once a month or just over that, one customer is going to open that email. There will be customers that love and adore you, plus your parents or your siblings or best friends, who will open every single email. But on the main part, most customers will open 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 emails. So if you send an email once a week, although it feels like a lot of information you're sending out, a lot of people are not receiving that information. So this is why you need to send them so often. Your email should be aimed at your customers and not about you. So it shouldn't be like, I've had such a busy week, oh, blah, 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 this is what I've been up to. It should be, hey guys, I thought I'd tell you about my new product and this is how it will help you. And this is why I've made it, because I want you to have this end goal and this end achievement. And it shouldn't be necessarily, I say hi guys, it shouldn't actually say hi guys. It should say, hi Mike, hi Daniel, hi Sabrina, hi Chloe. It should be tailored to people. So when you get people to subscribe to your mailing list, always have on your forms their first name and their email address, because just having their email address means the email is going to say hi. And as I mentioned before, open rates are higher when you put hi and the person's name. And what I like to do is in my emails, in the body of the email, is also mention their name if possible. So it may say, I made this product, Chloe, because I really wanted you to know about X, Y, Z. And that kind of, when they're reading through, they're going to notice their name again. And they'll be like, oh, she's writing to me. She knows what I want to hear. So think about when you write your emails, how can you personalize them more? How can your emails be improved upon? And what can you do to kind of help engage your emails and build that like, know, and trust? Like, know, and trust is built by reaching out and customers seeing your content between 7 to 11 times before they're likely to purchase from you. So the more emails you push out, the more times they see you on socials, the more times you show up, they're likely to purchase from you. And what you want them to feel is that you're being authentic. And when we're on social media, a lot of us just push information out, but we're not actually being social. And this is the other part of communication. So when you communicate, whether it's on email or whether it's on social, ask people their opinions, ask them to reply to your email. And if they do reply, because not many do, reply back to them and build and engage with them. If you have a call to action on every single post on social media, which you should do, and people comment in those posts, respond back to them. And don't just respond to them with a thank you, ask them another question, engage and be social. So just going back to emails, every email should have a call to action, as should every social media post. It should focus on selling the benefits and features of your product, collection or service, not just say buy now or click the button to buy. It should tell them a bit more about that. It should focus on what this service or product does, how it will help the end user's life or business or anything like that. How does it help? What will they feel if they're going to feel from it? Is it going to relieve stress? Are they going to feel great? Are they going to be, feel fantastic for supporting a Black-owned business? And how long will that product last for? So if it's skincare, once I open it, how long will it last? Or how many uses does something happen? Or how many consultations do I get? Or how long is the performance that I'm booking? These are the things that you should focus on, because these are the questions that people want to know. And if you give them that information and it ticks all those tick boxes in their mind, then they're more likely to click the button in the email, go through to the website and purchase. So that's why we need to make sure, if we're getting them to click through to the website, we need to make sure that the website that they go to tells them everything that they want to and kind of confirms what you've put in the communication. The information needs to be the same. There was a client that I worked with really briefly, and she had a post that said, join my mailing list and get 15% off. And then when that first email came through, it gave them a code for only 10% off. And then when they went to the website, it said join the mailing list for 20% off. And it was really confusing because they hadn't audited when they'd made changes. And so, people were like, well, why would this is like not what I wanted to do? So she'd get a lot of unsubscribers because they felt like they'd been cheated. So really make sure that all the different parts of your business kind of link up and are succinct and work well together. So if you don't have an email list, don't worry. Now's a great time to set one up. There are free versions of MailChimp or MailerLite that you can use to start off with. And then encourage customers to join your mailing list. They're not just going to do it off the back. And it's not good enough to just have a little tick box when somebody completes a transaction that says, would you like to join my mailing list? You should have links to your mailing list in your social media bios. So if you've got link trees set up, which you should have, join my mailing list here. If you do any freebies or downloadables, they should have to fill in a form to join your mailing list in order to get that free download. You know, it should be on your website homepage, it should be throughout your website, it should be everywhere, so you can encourage people to sign up to your mailing list. And set yourself goals for people. You know, don't just say, oh, I want people to join my mailing list. Say, I want 10 people this week to join my mailing list. And that will help you really focus on achieving and growing and building your mailing list. So what are you going to need to do on social media? I touched on it about talking about having calls to action, but you need to post regularly and consistently. You need to use the platforms that you have well. You do not need to be on every platform. I actually kind of think it's the worst thing you can do. But what you need to do is the platforms that you do use for your business, whether it is LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, you need to use all of the features and tools within them. So for example, Instagram is where you'll find me mostly on. I do have a Facebook account, but it's because I have the business account on LinkedIn. So I have both of them. But for different businesses, different social media platforms are going to work better for you. So if you're posting videos, make sure those videos, photos, make sure those photos are the right size photos for that platform. So I hope you all have heard of the wonderful tool called Canva. You can resize your posts in Canva. You can use it to like do so many different graphic design features. I think it's fantastic. But you know, if you look at Instagram at the moment, you can't just post photos and think that's enough. You need to post videos, you need to do lives, you need to do reels, you need to use the new features that are coming out. So for example, there's a new feature called guides. So I put you can put posts together to make a kind of guide. This is perfect for businesses that have gift guides. You can do different posts together that can show gift guides for people. That's just quite recently come out. Reels came out recently, and that has been phenomenal for reaching new people. You know, your posts go further, they reach new audiences because Instagram loves to get new people to use their new features. And there's another new feature called Instagram Shopping that they're really promoting for you to use as well. So keep on top of the new things. Go to YouTube to find out how to use them well and use them consistently. Don't just show up for 2 weeks and post every day and then disappear for 3 weeks. It's better to post every 3 days and do it consistently without having any dropout. So action for this section is to batch work your emails. Now, the reason, I don't know if any of you've heard the term batch work, but batch working is when you do something in a slotted period of time and you spend a lot of time where you just work on that one thing. And so I do my emails once a month in the middle of the month. So around the 15th of the month, I do the following month's emails. And so I will write 4 weeks emails out in one go. It takes me about 2 to 2.5 hours to do. But once they're done, they're scheduled. I don't have to worry about it. If something comes up in between them, I might post another email or I might tweak another email if it's not, you know, it needs to change. But most of the time they're fine. And because I'm batch working, I'm more efficient with my time because I get faster and faster and faster at writing my emails because I'm using the templates, the same templates I've used previously. And it's really easy just to fill them in and I get more efficient in my time. Whereas if I wrote one email a week, sometimes I'd be late, they wouldn't go out regularly, then I'd think, oh, I'm 3 days late, don't worry, I'll just send it the next email next week. And I find that I'm not as organized. So my advice is to batch work your emails. And then remember in each email just to have one call to action. Don't tell people to do 5 different things, just have one main call to action. I do send emails out telling people what I have coming up the next week ahead so they can pick and choose if they want to join a masterclass or a webinar or a talk like this. But that is just one call to action. I'm just telling them what I'm doing. Do you want to join? And they could just be like, yes, I am. But I wouldn't then add on something else and something else and something else because it confuses and dilutes the water. So try to have one call to action in your posts, in your emails where possible. Okay. So before I go on to the last 2 sections, let me have a look at what you guys have said. So Sabrina said she sent an email yesterday. Well done. Okay, Mike said he doesn't have one. 1 month ago, but to 6 people an hour ago. Okay, well done, an hour ago. Actually, to be fair, I sent one an hour ago as well, just to people that had signed up to this masterclass.
Had to be done, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sunday, fantastic. I emailed them today with a rum cake recipe, telling them to expect some special deals. I like that. So something useful, that's good. And also telling them that something's coming, so to look out for it. That's really good. Building that kind of excitement. So well done. Okay, so Mike, where you are a service-based business and you have customers to that you've got, it's really
Actually,
good.
yeah, sorry, I think I might have just today I sent out an email thanking all the people attendees of my webinar. So I sent to 12 of them and I asked them to fill in a feedback survey.
Okay.
And also if they want to give me a testimonial, that can go on my website as well.
Brilliant. So you do have one. You just need to make it official.
No, but I don't have a MailChimp or anything, but I'm going to talk to Mike,
so
who's going to help me with it.
Okay. So
I just did it manually. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Well, at least you've got a start. You've got a list and you're going to start building on that. But yeah, definitely. And what I would say, so I run an email course, which maybe Mike runs one too, or Chris does, I don't know. But what I find is really important is when you have your mailing list is to have a nurture sequence. So a nurture sequence, so whatever the reason they've joined your mailing list for, whether it was to get a discount or whether it's to download something or to make a booking or book a service or because they've booked a masterclass or something like that, you should have a series of emails that go out if they're new to your list that basically will be like, the next email is kind of like, hey, here's a little bit about me. And then the next email might be something else about you and maybe a link to a blog post or a link to a free download or something like that. You want to nurture them and build that like, know, and trust. And your nurture sequence can be sent emails for the first few days out in a sequence that just runs automatically once you've set it up. And that really helps customers to get to know you. And if they unsubscribe, they weren't really your real customers anyway. And you just tell them, I'm going to send you a few emails over the next few days, and then I'll send out one once a week. Don't worry, you can unsubscribe at any time. And you just leave it like that, and you just have a nurture sequence built in, and it's going to help build that like, know, and trust that everyone talks about. So that would be my tip when you go through that with Mike. Okay, so the next two parts.
Thanks a lot.
No problem. And that's to any of you who have a list that doesn't have a nurture sequence, not just to Mike. So for the next two sections, maybe more product based, but I will try to give examples. So another way to increase sales are having a product launch. This can be a service product as well, and also by increasing distribution. So that part might not be relevant for everybody, but if you have a new product ready to launch, adding, it's really important that throughout the year you offer different services. So I have a number of different things that I do. I run masterclasses like this, but I also have workshops that are every month or every 2 months, depending on what workshop. I run courses and I run one-to-ones, but sometimes I'll tailor things and then it has such a good response, it becomes a new product. And so it's important to have that newness for customers who may have been on your mailing list for years, or for customers who have just joined. So plot out and have in your marketing calendar, during the year, I want to have a number of launches. And this may be anything from 1 a quarter to 1 all the time. So for example, Alicia from Royal Drip and Black to My Roots has loads of products. So she can probably add lots of new launches all the time and has something new to talk about, which might be really different compared to, say, Daniel, which might only have 1 or 2 different offerings. But if you have something new, it's really a good way and a really good way to increase your sales and to kind of get people re-engaged with your content as well. So if you're a product-based business, can you sample? Yes, you can, hopefully. Like I said, you can do the pre-launches, you can build that FOMO, you can give physical product for people to try. But another thing to do is you have the sampling that you should do ahead of time, but then you can also have the exposure that you've got at launch, which builds excitement and gives you content that you can do. And then sometimes your launches allow you to link sale, and link sale is what's going to increase your customer spend. So when I used to work within the beauty industry, one of the accounts I looked after was Clinique. And Clinique's link sale, they used to have like a 3-step program that every single member of staff was trained in and drilled in to sell. And the same happened in YSL, and the same happened in MAC, and the same you know, it wasn't like a no-brainer. If you bought a foundation from MAC, they would try to sell you the concealer and the corrector. It was just instinctive, inbuilt in their selling system. If you went to YSL and you wanted the mascara, they were always going to try to sell you their Hero red lipstick. And the same with Clinique. If you went and bought their cleanser, they had a 3-step program that they tried to introduce you into. So if you can link sell, you can increase the basket spend and your average unit spend and make that higher. So that's a great way to increase sales in your business. So think about what products go well together. And, you know, when you're talking about them in your website or in your content, you can mention this goes really well with this. So you're already telling people what products link together. And if it's relevant, maybe you have a bundle offer or a gift set offer or a package deal that can encourage people to spend. So, you know, if you think about when you go into a shop, I'll give a really simple analogy, and you buy a pint of milk. 1 pint of milk is more expensive for the pint than a 4 pint of milk is. So they want you to upsell, and they, you know, but if you were to go into a store and you wanted to buy some shampoo, they have the conditioner next to it because it's a link sell product. So they want you to buy not just the shampoo, but the conditioner. And then when you get to Christmas time or gifting time, you would find that, you know, a hair care brand may have a whole package of not just the shampoo and conditioner, but they might have a mask and another product, and they might sell it as a nice gift wrap set and make it into something more premium. And it could be the same way for a service-based business. You can package up a deal. So if Daniel's doing lessons, I think that was right, that you were doing music lessons, you might be able to say, well, if you can pay per lesson at this rate, and you can pay a month in advance for weekly lessons, but if you book a set of 10 or 20 lessons, I'm going to give you a saving because they're going to commit to that upfront and they give you the money upfront. So that's something that you could do in your businesses. Okay, so my tip for this section is to plan your launches. Don't just send out an email where everyone says, you know, buy this product, because it's not good enough. I have actually come out with a product called a product launch planner that basically helps you launch products and have successful launches. Did you see my screen, guys, for that whole time?
No, your screen's gone.
You should have just said, oh my God, I was talking to myself.
Oh,
we thought you were freestyling.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same concept.
It was engrossed anyway, so.
Okay, cool. I was like literally clicking through. So yeah, but yeah, what I would suggest is that with regards to launches, I brought out a product because a lot of people will just send an email saying, hey, here's my new product. But when you have a new product, you should start talking about it, telling people that you've got something coming up. Just a bit like Alicia's told them that she's got some special deals coming. So they're thinking, what's this special deal? When I talked about my launch planner, I told people that I'm going to do a launch planner to help them with product launches. And I told them, so then they're like, oh, what's that? When's it coming out? You know, I had people waiting for it to come out. And so the launch planner goes through everything from setting pricing to staff training to visuals to all the 10 different areas that you know may need or want to like have a successful launch. And it goes through pre-launch, launch and post-launch, as well as about how to get PR coverage, and you name it is covered in that. And I did it because I have so many clients that, or people that I talk to, and they just literally be like, here's an email, here's my new product, please buy it. And people do buy it. But if you do a launch successfully and well, you can build a wait list, you can get people excited, you can pre-launch, pre-sell, and actually really stretch the life cycle of a new product. Because when you launch a product, you have that kind of like up curve and then it dips. But if you plan your launch effectively, that curve can stay higher for longer, and then you're going to make more money before it kind of tails off, but you have to do more marketing to get it to come back up again. So yeah, product launches are like key, whether it's a service-based business or not, to like having something that will engage your audience and get them to spend more with you. do you guys, have you launched any products this year? Because I know COVID has kind of like messed a lot of our lives up. But for some people, business has never been better. And for others, it's really kind of paralyzed them. So for my business that I have, the sales have been like horrific and really affected because most of our sales were swimwear, then nobody went on holiday and we'd already bought and committed to stock. So we had new launches that nobody wanted. But yeah, with my service-based business, I've added new products throughout the year. What have you guys done, if you want to share? Chloe's launching a new product next week, but it's come around so quickly. Okay. Yeah, the product launch guide was great. Oh, you've got it. Helped with Rodrip launch its new gadgets a couple of weeks ago. Well, that's good. I'll be getting a testimonial from you then. What I would say is, if you do think you're going to launch something before the end of the year, or even maybe in the spring, you're thinking of launching, start talking about it now. You know, give some sneak peeks, do some little screen grabs if it's like a computer screen that they might see, or, you know, build that excitement, get people wanting to know more about it, because you can only sell a product once, so sell it as much as you can, and you know, the more you sell, the better. Anti-aging lifestyle program. Okay, so is that new, Mike, or is it
Yes,
coming
it's
out?
new.
Is it launched already?
I did the introductory webinar last week.
Oh, okay, that one,
So,
right.
yeah.
So great. So when you've got your testimonials, that gives you even more authority and credibility to like keep talking about it and get people interested in it. And if you can, if you had some really engaged people on your webinar, if they're confident enough to give you a video testimonial, they do much better than just words. On my actual last post, I have a video testimonial, and it get, you know, one, it's a video, so it gets more reach, and two, you know that someone's not just saying it. It's not just words that you've put from Camille Johnson from London with my quote. There's somebody talking and saying exactly how they feel. So if you feel that you had some really engaged people, ask them if they'd be willing to do a video testimonial. And there's the other thing you can do sometimes is you can do recording. So like on Zoom, you could like have a call with somebody, and it will, if you press the record button, it also records the audio. So then you can cut a clip from the audio, which I think Mike did from one of my things on one of my posts.
Yeah. I like that style. I'm getting into that a bit more nowadays, actually.
Yeah. So, you know, even if they don't want to put their video, you can say, we're recording this, but I'm not going to show your face. So they can even have screens like where they're not showing their face, but you can have their voice saying, you know, you could do a little interview. What was it that you found most interesting? What, you know, you want it to be open-ended questions that will give you the answers of what you kind of want. You can tailor it when you're having a conversation with people, and then you can just take that little sound bite and use that as your testimonial.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so when it's somebody real talking, people are so much more responsive as well.
Okay, that's great.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna say to Chloe, even though it's next week, start talking about it now. I know that we have Black Friday coming up, but after Black Friday, people have still got money to spend. So talk about that there's something coming up. Talk about what it is. Tell them when it's available. Ask them, you know, do post in stories saying, are you interested? Do you want to know more? And then have the answers on the kind of question will be yes, of course, and hell yes, or whatever in your own voice, so that both the answers are yes. So you don't have the percentage that when people press the button that says like no, like no percentage is whatever is, like say 20 and 80% say yes. You want all the people that click those buttons to be people that are interested. And then when you go into your analytics, it will tell you who clicked. You make sure you save those details, and then as soon as it's launched, you can send them a link to, you know, the product, or if they want to know more, in the next post you tell them more about it. And then also, again, if they've clicked through, keep a note of them, and then you send them personal links to the actual product launch. And so then you're more likely to get those people to purchase because they showed an interest initially. So that's a tip for any of you guys. When you're doing your stories, don't always have a yes no answer. Sometimes you can have a yes answer, because that gives you a real indication of the numbers of people that are interested in your posts. I know I talk a lot about Instagram, but I would say for somebody like Mike, I think that LinkedIn is going to be a really good area for you. And for Daniel, I would also suggest that it might not seem like it is, but LinkedIn can be really good if you're doing corporate events. So I would suggest going onto there as well as a musician. Yeah. So.
Okay. Is there any reason why you feel Instagram wouldn't be good?
It's not that it wouldn't be good. I just think that LinkedIn will be good. If that makes sense.
Oh, right. Okay,
LinkedIn could still be good, but I think with the other thing you can also do is for everybody is look at what your competitors do and see what platforms they're on. But when you look at the platforms, you know, whatever platform you're on, you need to be consistent in it. So Pinterest is a search engine. It's actually not a social media platform, but it's a fantastic search engine because it encourages to take people off of their website onto your website, so off their platform. It encourages you to do that. And there's actually quite a few wellness coaches on there. So if you have a look, there's a lady called Vicky Shilling, Mike, just so you might want to look her up. And she has a podcast called Just Start Now, and she posts throughout Pinterest and has a lot of visitors to her site through doing that. So Pinterest might be great for you. Pinterest is a very big female audience, but there are men on there who do phenomenally well. So there's like a guy that talks about beard tips, and he has over 1 million followers because he's found his niche within a very female dominated search engine. So sometimes you can't always listen to what the like stereotype of a platform is. You just need to look it up for yourself. But I think for wellness and nutrition, health products, and how-tos, Pinterest is great for. I think LinkedIn is really good for corporate and professional kind of things. But if your target market person is from that corporate professional background, then they're going to be there even if they don't think that your service is where they'd be expecting to find it.
Right. Okay. What's that lady's name again?
Vicky Shilling.
Oh, Vicky. Sorry, Vicky.
Yeah, and if you do Just Start Now, that might also come up, which is her podcast.
It's good to have a few and look at other platforms as well, because Insta's becoming quite saturated in terms of people all try to be doing their marketing in the same place. So yeah, that's a good piece of advice there, Camille, looking at Pinterest and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think, you know, everybody's going to have an area that works really well for them. Some people it's Twitter, some people it's LinkedIn, some people, you know, it's about finding what works well for you. Don't try and do them all because you'll do them all really badly. Don't be a jack of all trades, but whatever you do it well and use all the tools that they promote, because then they're more likely to promote you. So I'm just going to touch on the last section because it could be relevant for some of you, but not many. And this is about increasing distribution. So growing your retail footprint is a really good way to increase sales. So, you know, having multiple locations, but in some ways being on another platform is kind of growing your footprint because you're reaching a new audience. So for some people, they will be on, like, I use Instagram literally for business and for just chilling out. I use Facebook to talk to my friends and see what's going on. I use Twitter if something's happened in the world, like an emergency or an earthquake or something like that, because that's the most up-to-date news. I use Pinterest if I want to decorate or if I want to like learn how-to tips and stuff like that. So each different platform is used differently. I use LinkedIn for more corporate and connecting with people. So each platform on each area has a different need, and depending on what your business is and how you communicate to your audience is going to be how well you do. So I went on a course last year with somebody called Janet Murray, who is like a PR expert, and she had like a 2-day masterclass thing that I went to with loads of different experts. And there was a lady on there who was a florist, and if you'd have asked me where does she do best on, I would have said Instagram. Instagram's such a visual platform. This will be probably where everybody's there seeing what she sells. And actually, she does better on LinkedIn. And I was like, huh? Why? And she's like, because nobody else is there. I do a bouquet a day. I talk about the bouquet. I talk about the flowers. I maybe show a video of how I made that bouquet. And everybody looks forward to seeing it on their feed. And then when they've got a birthday coming up in the office, they book them from me. And I was like, oh. she found her niche, which is really, you know, it's not where you would expect it. But there's probably loads of florists on Instagram, just like you said, but there's not many florists talking about what they do over on LinkedIn. And she's very good at networking. So when you go to networking events, she links up with people. So then her feed is being shown in their feed, and, you know, she's consistent on putting content out. So yeah, don't always, you know, follow what the trend is, work out what works for you. Okay, so increasing your distribution or your visibility will increase the, you know, hopefully increase the number of people that see you, the number of people that sign up to your mailing list, and which will increase your sales volume. So if you have increased sales, your costs should come down if you sell physical products. And the reason why is because you can either make or buy in larger quantities. So those products and cost of goods should come down. So for example, if you started off and you had one order a week, you only need to buy a very few amount of boxes at a time. If that increases to one order a day, then you buy more boxes at a time. If that goes to 10 orders a day, that dramatically increases the number of boxes that you need to buy, and, you know, components, maybe tissue paper and I don't know, bubble wrap or stuff like that. So if you buy them in bulk, they're going to cost you less. So you can eke out more profit because your costs are lower. So when you increase your volumes, that can happen. In the same way, if you have a service-based business and maybe you make ebooks or something like that, once you've made the ebook, that's it, you've done it. So you can make multiple sales, and actually you're going to make more money because it's kind of like evergreen content. So the more you make or the more you sell, the lower the costs are going to be, and that lower initial costs that it's going to cost you to produce or make that product. So that ultimately gives you more profit. I haven't gone into distribution too much because, one, retail is closed. Two, we're in a very strange time. But ultimately, if you are in more places or you sell to more people, you're going to make more money. If you're in a retail store, those retail stores are not going to give you a space on their shelf for free. They need to make money too. So you are going to lose out on your margin. But if you can increase your volume of sales phenomenally, like tenfold, then it's going to mean that you can grow your business and scale up your business and still end up making more profit at the end of the year. So I've got a tip here that I'm going to not even read out and tell you to ignore. So this is the little bonus that I was going to give. I'll give to Mike after today, which is basically a checklist, and it's a grow your business checklist, which basically covers everything that we spoke about today that you can do to improve and tweak on your business. I don't expect you to do it in a week. Give yourself maybe a month, 2 months, or even 3 months to get through this, and then just work on it in a cycle and repeat and repeat and repeat. And then you'll just get into the habit of always analyzing, always auditing, looking at your business and reflecting on it and thinking about what I can do to over deliver, how I can grow my mailing list, what else I could launch ahead of time, and then measure those results and repeat and repeat and repeat. So that's it basically. If you guys don't know me, which some of you probably don't, I'm on Instagram as Miss Camille Johnson, and I'm on Facebook as MCJ Consultancy. So give me a follow. And if you have any questions about today, just feel free to message me on there. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I like to post tips and stuff like that all the time, basically. So yeah, that's it really, guys.
Excellent. We want to really thank you, Camille. Make sure you make a note of the social media, follow Camille, get in touch with Camille. That checklist looked excellent in terms of the things that we should be doing, with a great timeline in order to tick it off. It should be a yearly, weekly, monthly thing that you're constantly checking your website, constantly checking your mailing list, constantly growing your business. So I really want to thank you. Can you just throw some ones in the chat for Camille? She really served us, gave us her time. We really appreciate you. Mike, I want to pass over to you to close the session in terms of picking update and let them know what will be happening from next week in terms of supporting people on a one-to-one. We have a speaking and webinar launch thing that we're going to be supporting individuals through. So Mike will be working with you guys one-to-one, looking at your avatar, looking at your lead magnets, I'll be supporting you on your presentation skills to make sure that when you do have a webinar, you're engaging and doing the right stuff. So Mike, is there any information that they need to know in regards to that and regards to next week?
Yeah, in regards to the subscription, in terms of like, this was the last one for 2020. So we'll be in touch with everyone personally on an individual basis. We want to thank Camille coming in today. As you do, we do like to have experts in their field coming and furnishing you guys. What we want to do is the launch of that one will be in around the speaking webinar and web class will be in around January. So you're going to have enough time to get onto that one, and we're going to furnish you with all the details about that. It's going to be a fantastic class because, as Camille touched upon, as Cyrus touched upon, you need to be putting yourselves out there. Even today, like, we'd have liked to have seen a few faces. You know, you sell better when people can see you and hear you. But there are other ways that we can use your audio and you know, you create the content so they can see you and be effective and have an effective impact on your sales as well. So that's going to be all part of this 6-week program that we're going to run across. And as Camille said, check her out on the Insta. The website was there. Was it
mcjconsultancy.com.
MCJ Consultancy. I'm sure we'll all be working together at some point. We just want to make sure we've got this knowledge to impart on everybody, and we definitely want to make sure that you guys get the best of what we know, so you can optimize your businesses. But yeah.
Without further ado, I'm going to bid you guys good night. Camille, you got any closing words?
No, thank you very much for having me, and keep in touch, everyone.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Yep.
See you soon. Take care.
Good night from
Thanks
the
a lot.
intro.
Bye-bye. Good night.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Was that okay?
Yeah, that was wicked. That was wicked.
Cool.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
All right.